In most of the dreams that I have, the best ones are actually where I'm running. Just anywhere, you know, I'll be trying to get somewhere in my dream, and then I realize I can run. I guess for the average person, it would be like walking down the street one day and realizing, you know, why am I walking when I can fly to wherever I'm going? And that's the same way it is for me in dreams whenever I realize I can run.
We are here today to discuss the evidence that establishes that no reasonable juror would convict Damien Echols, essentially knowing what we know today. But let me begin in 1993 with the arrest of Damien Echols.
Stevie Branch, Christopher Byers, and Michael Moore, second-grade playmates, were found beaten to death, naked and bound in shallow water.
3 teenagers were taken into custody. They are each charged with 3 counts of capital murder.
Scale of 1 to 10, how solid do you think the case is?
11.
The only problem is that the statement of Gary Gitchell that convinced the citizens of this state that it was true was absolutely false.
When I wrote Devil's Knot, that book was published in 2002, and a lot has happened since then, really important things. In my view, there are 3 that kind of jump up to the top. Of course, the DNA analysis. It was hard fought for years to try to get a re-examination with more contemporary science to get to see what we could find from evidence that was collected at the scene where the bodies were found.
The findings are spelled out in Echols' motion for a new trial, which says none of the genetic material recovered at the scene was attributable to Echols, Baldwin, or Misskelley. Genetic material recovered from Stephen Branch was contributed by a person other than any of the victims or defendants.
The DNA that was found at the crime scene has been matched to 2 men. One is Terry Hobbs, who is the father of Stevie Branch. The other was a guy by the name of Jacoby, who was the one who provided Hobbs with his alibi for the night the children were murdered. Even though you have other people's DNA there, I think it's still very powerful just to point out that they didn't find any of ours there.
Defense Exhibit 6, and even with the slightest pressure, it makes a straight line.
Prosecutor Fogelman gets this bright idea to search the lake behind Jason's house, and well, what do you know? Up comes a knife. A knife that he suggests to the jury was the knife that inflicted these wounds on the victim.
Give me a break. That is the most ridiculous statement that I've ever heard anybody make, and to sell that to a jury is unconscionable, in my opinion. These are scratch marks from claws from some type of an animal.
And the spacing and the configuration of those injuries is not compatible with a serrated knife such as this, or for that matter, any knife.
If there was no knife, and if these were actually injuries inflicted after the deaths, then that changes everything.
Do you ever think about the families of Chris Byers, Steve Branch, and Michael Moore?
I do. I've thought about them quite a lot over the years, actually. I try to just remember where they're coming from and the hurt that they feel and what they've experienced that they'll never get over.
I want to see the West Memphis Three set free as soon as possible. There's 3 men that have spent 15 years in prison that shouldn't be there, and an individual that's ran free that should have been in prison.
They've changed their mind about this. They now believe we're innocent, and they want to see this go back to trial.
These are notes taken by one of the jurors during their deliberations.
Investigators have now retrieved notes that jurors kept during that trial on which they have written Jessie Misskelley's confession. That was a piece that was not supposed to be allowed into the second trial, because while Jessie Misskelley confessed and then retracted his confession and wouldn't repeat it at their trial, Damien and Jason never confessed. So that was never supposed to be admitted in any shape or form into that trial.
A lot of the jurors, including Ken Arnold, now say that that was the prime reason that they convicted us for something that wasn't even evidence in our trial.
The Arkansas Supreme Court now has got to consider if that piece of juror misconduct was so serious that it will in fact require that they give Damien Echols and Jason Baldwin a new trial.
Damien's case is before the Arkansas State Supreme Court. He's prepared to go to federal court.
I just feel this momentum. There's the will to just right this wrong and to get this done and to get them out.
Do you actually think you will walk out of death row someday?
Yes, I do.
And when you're talking about life sentences, death row, there is no room for error. If you're going to make a mistake on the side of screaming for justice and not being too silent in the face of potential injustice.
Damien's got an appeal before the Arkansas Supreme Court that is going to have to consider a number of things. Probably the most important will be this issue of juror misconduct. The court will have to decide whether or not he gets a new trial based on that information.
If they overturn the case, then we go all the way back to the beginning and start again with a new trial. If they don't overturn the case, we go straight on to federal court.
With the eyes of the whole world paying attention to it now on a new trial, and literally the whole world.
In America, you have to be proven guilty beyond a shadow of doubt.
I immediately related to Damien what he went through growing up. He comes from a small town in Arkansas. I come from a, relatively small town in Kentucky.
Sick and tired of hearing things from uptight, short-sighted, narrow-minded hypocrites. All I want is the truth.
This is something that I was thinking about this morning. There are times whenever I think I'm getting used to this situation, I think I'm adjusting to it, and then it'll hit me all of a sudden again, like it did this morning, and I realize some of the most famous people in the world are trying to help us now. And, just trying to get your mind around how that came about, how that happened. The fact that it did happen, it's so surreal that even after all these years, sometimes it still hits you. And it's an incredibly amazing thing.
For all of these years, 17 years, this case has been in Arkansas. It's our case and our disgrace, but most of the attention has come at it from out of state. There's been a lot of quiet among our state officials, and it's taken a long time for the energy to come together here in Arkansas, and this is where it has to happen. So I think it's going to be important for our public officials to see that people here in Arkansas are very concerned about the quality of justice that we get in this state. Now we have this great organization of Arkansas Take Action, which is calling on people to basically stand up and say, no, hell no, we're not going to put up with this kind of stuff. You cannot rely on the good faith of the people of Arkansas to just meekly accept anything that a court wants to rule when it's as egregious as this. This is about not just Damien and Jason and Jessie. This is about justice. Justice with a capital J in Arkansas for everybody who has to come before our courts.
You have no idea what that does to my heart whenever I think about stuff like this, how much that means to me. You people are literally a miracle in my life. It's one of those things that's just too huge. All of this, all of the things that have come together, all of the people who have put so much work into getting us out of here, into setting this situation right. And there's so many people that have done things like this and that have put so much work and put so much of themselves into this that there's no way I can thank all of them. There's nothing that I can say that would express my gratitude to them. All I can hope is that one day soon, somehow, I can show them out there.
This is a historic case, not just for Arkansas, but for the whole country.
I would love for the outcome to be a sense of justice that I have confidence in.
Almost any way it goes, I think the outcome is Damien and Jason and Jessie are freed from prison in Arkansas. Unfortunately, it will have been 17 or 18 or 19 years too late by the time it happens. But they will be freed.
And as the years have gone by, you know, God has found a way to show me that, hey, He is working on this. He will open the doors. And He's done that through supporters like you guys, you know. And words cannot express how much gratitude, how much I owe you for that. One of these days I hope to meet you and, you know, give you a big hug and say thank you. But even that won't be enough. But y'all are choosing to help me, to help Damien, to help Jessie, to help people. And that's a big thing. And I want you to know y'all are heroes for that. And thank you.
I just want to say thank you for everything you've done. You know, keep up the good work. I'm having faith in everybody. That way it's going to come to the end pretty soon. Hopefully we won't be here too much longer. Just think, you know, keep up the good work. Thank everybody for all their support. May God be with each and every one of you. Peace.
I just want to take a moment to thank everyone, not only for coming together like this tonight, which means more than I will ever be able to put into words. This is something that I'll remember for the rest of my life, but also for the love and the support and the energy that you've given me over all of these years. I'm speaking to you from death row, where I've spent about 17 years now for something I didn't do. And during all this time, I've never lost hope, I've never lost faith, and I've never given up. And the reason for that is because of you. Your support, your energy, and your love mean more than I could ever even begin to articulate. It's what has kept me alive through all of these years. It's saved my life. Our local bureaucrats and politicians, what they care about is your voice, your effort, and your energy. And just by being here tonight, you're sending them a message that you haven't forgotten and that you won't forget, and that you care about doing what's right even when they don't. That's a very powerful thing, and it's something that I don't have the words to express my appreciation for. I wish I could be there with you tonight to thank you in person, and I believe I will be very soon, and that's because of you. I hope you have fun, and I look forward to seeing you outside these walls. Good night.
Fuck them all.